Hello you guys. Welcome to the channel. It's your girl Jada here, back with another video, and today we are going to be diving into 90 Day Fiancé, and I believe this is season 10. It's been a minute since I've talked about this season and the couples in this season, but if you guys like to check out my latest recap that I did a little while ago with regards to this season, I'll link it in the corner here. But yeah, let's just dive into it. Okay, it's been a minute, but I like to just let the episodes go by, you know, like a couple at a time, and then I'll sit down and talk about it instead of just doing episode after episode, because who has the time to just sit down every single episode, film, edit, and then post? Like, no. Gino and Jasmine. So now that they're done fighting, because I think in my last recap I spoke about how they really was going at it and saying the most nasty, vile things to each other. At least Jasmine was. Gino was trying his hardest to, but Jasmine was hitting super below the belt, and them jabs were going deep. Okay, that's all I gotta say. But they're finally done fighting, at least for now. Okay, wink wink, at least for now. And they do make up, and now they're back on with their wedding planning. They go to find a wedding dress for Jasmine because remember, she blew all the money that Gino had originally sent to her on getting her butt done, if y'all remember that. And then she also had told him about that when they were getting massages, if y'all remember that episode. Yeah, that was a hot mess. They're having a little bit of a back and forth with regards to the dress and, you know, the budget for the dress. But they do eventually find something that kind of makes both of them happy. So Jasmine, she also gets to put a lot of the issues that she had with Gino's family to rest after they get together, and they had a dinner to kind of hash everything out with regards to their thoughts about her and some stuff that they've said in the past. So they finally get on the same accord, it seems. And Gino and Jasmine, they finally get married. They have their cute little intimate ceremony. Jasmine's family gets to watch on Zoom because you could definitely see before the wedding she was getting really emotional with the fact that her family couldn't really be there. And also I think it was her sister or one of her sisters that she was speaking to on FaceTime, and you know, she was in her wedding dress and she was just getting so emotional with the fact that, you know, this sister couldn't be there. And I was like, ooh, I feel so bad. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like when you are obviously from another country and you know, you have to leave everything behind and get married, and that would be honestly so emotional for me to not have my family there. So yeah, when I get married, whenever that is, I'm definitely having it in the Bahamas, where I'm from, so that all my family can come. I know that they are very important to me. So I understand Jasmine in this moment, but they did get to watch it on Zoom, so I was happy for that. And also we find out that Gino and Jasmine want to start having babies as soon as possible, it seems. So we'll see how that goes, because she did seem very hesitant about it. She gave her reasons to Gino while they were in Miami for their little vacation. But I am a little worried that maybe she's rushing into it just because Gino does really want a kid and she wants to give that to him. So I don't know if it's necessarily something that she really wants to do, or if she's just trying to satisfy Gino. But I'm hoping that she is deep down like making this decision because she wants to. Let's move on to Rob and Sophie, or Robert and Sophie, whatever. I'm probably just gonna refer to him as Rob. But things are definitely not going so well with Rob and Sophie after Sophie's mom comes into town and she comes after his dusty looking apartment. Okay. She was definitely less than impressed and did not hold back with saying that. And I don't really blame her, because if you look at it, it's a studio apartment. The bathroom isn't even attached to the apartment. Like, and on top of that, it was dirty. Yeah, less than impressed is definitely kind of like an understatement, at least for me. If I was her mom walking into that situation, it would have been hard for me to hold my tongue too, I'm not gonna lie. Robert eventually apologizes to Sophie about all that's been going on with them after she pretty much begged him to, and they still go ahead with their wedding. She gets herself a dress, which was short, but it made sense considering that she was going to be walking through the sand on the beach. So it was cute. I think personally, I just like things to be a little bit more blingy. I don't know, that's just me. I just wanted to be a little bit more like bold and out there. I think when I do have a wedding, I definitely would want something that's a little bit more like eye-catching. But I totally get that we definitely probably have two different tastes when it comes to dresses, or more specifically wedding dresses. But yeah, just for me, I want something a little bit more blingy. Her mom ended up walking her to the altar, but they were kind of struggling to find the walkway that got them down to the beach. So it looked as though Sophie was actually a runaway bride for a second, but it was just because they couldn't really find the path to get down there. So that's what she says happened, and it looks as though they were also confused. So I think that kind of verified what she said. But they figured it out, they got married, and just like Sophie's mom, I am still a little iffy when it comes to their relationship and marriage. It just seems a little bit too rocky for me, but you know, we're just gonna move on to Nick and Devin. I didn't really see anything on them during the season after they got married, so I guess we're probably gonna just have to hear from them at the reunion in terms of how it's been going since they've gotten married, since the wedding, and all that good stuff.
So I just realized while I was editing this video that I completely skipped over Manuel and Ashley, so I'm just gonna squeeze them in here real quick. So they're still kind of going ahead with their wedding, and they head down to Florida to have their, you know, beach wedding, but also their conjoined bachelorette and bachelor parties, so to speak. Manuel starts, of course, feeling a little homesick and really wish that his family could all make it to the wedding, but they're still stuck in Ecuador at the moment, unfortunately. But he does call his mom and lets Ashley speak with her, which I think is a pretty big deal for him because Manuel has been pretty secretive up until this point. And the day of the wedding is high-key a mess. Ashley didn't take into account the hurricane season down in Florida when she was actually planning the wedding. So regardless, they still go ahead with the ceremony on the beach. Ashley, of course, is crying. Big drama in the car on the way down to the beach, but there was a light rain throughout the whole ceremony, but it didn't seem to really be too bad. But Ashley saw it as kind of good luck at the end of everything, even though she was, like I said, boohoo crying in the car just a little while before everything actually started.
Justin and Nikki, honestly, this couple is an absolute hot mess. I can't say it any other way. That's just what they are. And honestly, the relationship just kind of followed this same cycle over and over again, and it just kept getting a little better and then bad again, and it would just get worse every single time. It would get bad again, if that makes sense. So they have their engagement party and things seem to be going okay again, but then his family asked Nikki to sing at the engagement party, and I was definitely blown away by how bad it was. I'm sorry, it was terrible, but of course I think no one wanted to be rude, so they didn't really say much in that moment. But when Nikki finally leaves Moldova, they seem to be in a better place when it comes to their relationship. But literally the very next episode, this woman is crying and talking about how she and Justin had an argument, and then he broke up with her via text. You heard that right, via text. But he just ghosted her after that. She tried texting him to be like, hey, we could work this out, let's see if we could see it through, and nothing. This man was not responding. Straight ghosted. Her mom had to end up checking on her because she was just kind of in bed in her apartment with the curtains drawn and just sobbing her eyes out. And I really feel bad for Nikki, but at the same time, it was just like, girl, the writings were on the wall with this man. Like, he's just so all over the place. Clearly, he has something going on. More than likely, he's still cheating, let's be real. But at the same time, I do think that he's not really interested anymore with Nikki. I don't think he's interested. I don't see the interest coming from him. I feel like it's more like a, let's have fun for the time being since you're here, but in terms of having an actual relationship where they're both faithful to each other and him eventually coming over to the States to get married to Nikki, I just don't see that happening. I don't. But let's move on to Clayton and Annalie. So after their little vacation in San Diego, I believe, they get back to Kentucky and now they're having their bachelor and bachelorette parties. Clayton opts for a pretty boring bachelor party, at least in my opinion, with one of his friends, his best man. And they're just in the pool, hanging out and playing video games the entire night. Like literally nothing else, okay? But on the other hand, we had Annalie, who was on a bus getting a lap dance from a stripper that Clayton's sister hired because she was in charge of the party and also the wedding. So afterwards, you know, after they get off the bus, they get to this house. I think it was probably his sister's house, I'm not sure. But they finally get a chance to talk. And it's at this moment when Clayton's sister kind of breaks the news to Annalie that Clayton and their mom would never really separate from each other. That relationship is just too, like, interdependent, and they're probably gonna always be by each other. Like, as in living together. You're never going to get rid of their mom, basically is what she's saying. After she said that, Annalie was like, listen, if it doesn't change, I'll give him some time, but if it never changes, I'ma have to dip. She was already talking about leaving the relationship before they even got married, child. Annalie was like, I'm not having that, right? But the next night, after Clayton finds out about the whole stripper thing from the bachelorette party, he almost blows a fuse, okay? He is upset. He's yelling at Annalie. He's just like, make sure this never happens again. And Annalie, she started packing up a bag. The girl was literally packing her suitcase, getting ready to leave, because she was saying that she didn't want to have to keep dealing with this or be told how to live her life when their wedding was literally the next day. Okay, like literally the next day. And the next day comes, Clayton gets ready. He's in his suit, standing next to his best man at the wedding, at the altar, and not really knowing if Annalie was actually gonna show up or not. And that's pretty much where one of the episodes ends, which is pretty much just Clayton waiting, trying to figure out if Annalie is actually going to come to their wedding or if she's just gonna skip town. But she does end up coming through and they do get married. But again, that's another couple that I am worried about. I just don't know. When it comes to Gino and Jasmine, I know they're obsessed with each other in the strangest way possible. But when it comes to Clayton and Annalie, I feel like Annalie, I think Clayton could only do so much or get away with so much, in my opinion. So, I don't know. But Clayton does have a lot of issues. Like, why are you still living with your mother? Why do you have no friends? Why do you not go out? You know, like, it's just so many things. I'm just like, you know what I mean? So I can understand how Annalie might not be exactly happy with him in some ways. So let's move to our last couple, which is Sam and Citra. Sam does eventually tell Citra's dad about the possibility of him going to jail for a time because he wasn't able to file the paperwork that he needed to file in order to get out of possible jail time. But luckily, Citra's dad believes that Sam might be able to get around this, so he still kind of gives his blessing for the wedding. Sam does go through with converting to Islam to basically please his soon-to-be father-in-law and also so that he could just marry Citra. I don't think he actually wanted to. I think if there was an option for him to marry Citra and for everyone to be happy and they just live their jolly life without him having to convert, that he would. But yeah, I am a little worried also that he didn't really seem to know that much about the religion before doing so. So that does kind of, yeah, I am a little worried about that. But Sam's dad does show up to the conversion ceremony, but his mom doesn't. So he was a little disappointed by that, but he was happy that at least his dad was supportive of him. And they also do get married in the mosque. But then for the American wedding, things get a little bit chaotic because Citra's dad didn't want them to have a Christian pastor as their officiant because they were now, you know, all Muslim, at least Sam, Citra, and then obviously Citra's family. So last minute, Sam has to go out and get one of his brothers to do the officiating, who he just found out had his certification to be an officiant in that state. So he literally just had to ask him last minute, and thankfully he took it seriously. And then after the ceremony, I'm not even sure if they had a reception. They just kind of went straight to the bedroom, and I was just like, geez, Sam. Because the entire time they did agree to not have sex. So I think Citra obviously was very much so nervous because she was a virgin. She never really dabbled in that, but Sam isn't. So he was more than ready, but yeah, I was a little worried about, you know, Citra, because I was like, ooh, I hope she has a good time, you know? But yeah, y'all let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Obviously, like I said, I have my doubts about some of these couples, but let me know your thoughts. I'm going to be doing an episode on the reunion that's going to be coming out shortly. So if you guys see me looking the same, I'm pretty much just filming all of that in one go because I'm kind of behind. But y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.